So if you are planning a trip or thinking about going to China, then this is the video for you. I'm going to be covering off everything from eSIMs, the visa process, and all of the apps that you need to download, as well as some tips and tricks when staying in China. Hi, I'm George Huxley, and I just come back from a China trip, and it was absolutely amazing. If you haven't done so, please check out all the videos. If you do want to skip ahead to any point in the video, I've left the timestamps below. But if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. First of all, let's go on to the China visa process. So if you have a British passport and you're trying to get a visa for China, there is so much information out there, and it is actually really quite jumbled. There's been so many different changes. This is going to be the complete process for you. So first, what you want to do is go to visaforchina.cn and firstly go ahead and create an account. You want to fill in the full application online and submit it. So once you have submitted the application, you will need to wait roughly around 7 days before the application actually gets reviewed and then potentially approved. Now, just to remind you that during this stage, your application could get rejected. And if this does, then you probably need to call up the visa office in London or Manchester, whichever one you're applying to. In my experience, this didn't get rejected, and other people that I've spoken to said that this doesn't get rejected during this stage. Once this has been approved, you should get an email confirmation from the Visa for China London or Manchester office inviting you to go to the visa centre in Bank in central London and to effectively submit that application. Now, just to bear in mind here is that inside of the email confirmation, there will be a PDF document, basically with some of your information and saying confirmed. You need to actually print that document out. If you turn up to the visa office without that document actually printed and just, you're showing your phone, they will tell you to go away and print that document back out. I believe that they do offer some services to print in there, but I don't know. I got mine printed myself. Turn up to the visa office with that one piece of paper printed. Once you arrive, you'll get a ticket number inside the office and you'll need to take that piece of paper to the counter. They'll take your passport and request you to pay roughly £130 if you haven't paid for the rush service. After this submission, the person behind the counter will typically tell you to come back after 3 working days. So if you submit it on Monday, you should be able to go back by Thursday and collect your passport. But remember, this is 3 business days, so bank holidays and weekends do not count. If you submit it on Friday, you cannot collect it on Monday. When you go back to the office after those 3 days, you will get a ticket number, the same as before, go downstairs, and effectively you can then just collect your passport. If there's been no issues, that's effectively it. Inside of your passport, there will be a printed page, effectively like a sticker that they have put inside of that. And once you've got that, you're good to go. Just a little tip, if you're planning to go to China or you've already booked the flight to China, I would recommend that you do this process at least 4 weeks in advance, just in case of any mess ups and stuff. Especially when you have just submitted, things feel like they're going very slow. So just make sure to do this within good time. Now, before we jump onto the apps, let me tell you about VPNs and also eSIMs. There is no sponsored content here. This is just my personal opinion. So if you are traveling from the UK, then you actually will not need a VPN. Many people will say that you do need it. There is the Great Chinese Firewall that is effectively ever changing. So this may not apply on the day you're watching this, but effectively when I went to China, I just purchased an eSIM when I was inside the United Kingdom. And I'd heard from other people that eSIM effectively acts like a VPN when you're in that country. It also depends on where you have purchased your phone as well. If you have purchased your iPhone in the United Kingdom and it's a British iPhone, then you also won't need a VPN. All of your Western apps like WhatsApp and Google and Facebook will actually work in China with that phone. Now, I'm not too sure about the other countries. The United States might differ and different countries in Europe, but I know if you have a British phone and you buy a eSIM in the United Kingdom and then activate it before you go, this means that you won't need a VPN. Either way, the VPN that I did download just in case things didn't work is Let's VPN. Now, I have no affiliation with this whatsoever. This is actually, I believe, a Chinese company that is operating on the Western App Store. So, do what you wish with that information. Effectively, I just paid £2.50 for the week's basically unlimited VPN where I could connect to the United Kingdom or United States, just in case anything did happen and I needed to connect to those services back there. I ended up didn't needing it, so I wasted £2.50, but what can you do? Many of the big VPN services like NordVPN, ExpressVPN, all of those other ones, most of them are blocked in China because they already know how they work and they've already gotten around them already. If you are going to download any other VPNs, try and get ones that are not free. The free ones are mostly all blocked in China, but you will basically have to pay for them. Now, the eSIM that I use is MobiMatter eSIM. I know there are a ton out there like Aerolo and Saley and so many eSIM companies now. And also, this is not sponsored, but MobiMatter is just one that I've been using to every single country that I go to. It's actually really cheap and the setup process is really easy. You just pay for it and then download your eSIM or scan the QR code. Effectively, many of the eSIMs are very similar in how they're activated. It just really depends on what type of choice you want to make. Some of them are a little bit more expensive in my experience, but there is a ton of choice out there, so go wild. Now, lastly, let's get onto the apps that you need for China. Now, the two main ones that you cannot live without in China is Alipay and WeChat. Alipay and WeChat are literally used for 99% of all purchases you're going to make in China. It is accepted absolutely everywhere. Effectively, the way it works is everything in China is done with QR code. So you can forget about bringing your Western debit or credit card because they just do not work. There is no terminals for those to work. Many vendors will just have a QR code on their stand, or there will be a place in which that they can scan your QR code and then you can pay that vendor. Not only this, but apps in general in China just aren't that popular. Inside of WeChat and Alipay, there are these things called mini programs. So for these mini programs, they effectively act like apps within the apps. And these allow you to do many, many different things like get public transport, get things like food, paying for food. There are certain restaurants that you go to that have their own mini programs and rewards. Inside Alipay, you can also book trains. They have trip.com integrated into here as well. So you don't need to download trip.com and everything is integrated into those apps. Please comment down below if you'd like me to go into a really in-depth of both WeChat and Alipay. But it is best to just play around the app and everything is really right in front of you anyway. Now, for navigation, there is a few different apps, but effectively Google Maps does not work in China. It does work to a certain extent, but everything is super outdated. All of the roads don't make any sense. And with how quickly China is changing all of the new roads and buildings, Google Maps just cannot keep up and just doesn't really have a big presence there. The one I'd recommend to download is a map. This is a good Chinese maps. There is a lot of English inside of this app as well. There'll be some parts of the app that don't fully translate, but the majority of it is in English, so you can get around China really, really easily, especially for metro, walking, driving, whatever it may be. It's all updated. Now, for transport like cars, this is not necessarily hiring a car, but effectively like Uber in the West. As Uber doesn't work there, and many of the European services do not work there as well, you have to download Didi. You can use Didi inside of the Alipay app anyway, but the actual app itself is a little bit better in my opinion. It's very, very similar. If you've used Uber before, you'll really understand the familiarity of the layout, as is very, very similar to that. You request a ride to wherever you're going, you pay for it, and then you go along your way. Within these apps as well, it is good to mention that they only accept WeChat or Alipay as well, or WeChat or Wexin Pay as they call it, and it's very, very easily integrated into there anyway. Now, unless you're fluent in Mandarin, which I am not, you're going to need some sort of translation app. Now, Google Translate, especially with the new AI features, does work pretty well. You could also use ChatGPT to translate your conversations, but I find that the quickest one is Papago. Now, Papago is a Korean translator app. By default, it has English to Korean, but I think they have a whole team of people there also in Mandarin and Arabic. It only supports a select few of languages, really. Wow, it just got super windy all of a sudden. It only selects a few select languages, about 7 or 8 languages, but it does them really, really well. And especially with the back and forth translate feature, it is just super, super easy to use. As well, I've been told that some of the Chinese inside of there is much more accurate than Google Maps, Google Translate actually is as well. So Papago is the app that I used when I was in China. Now, for delivery and shopping, if you're planning on staying in China for more than a week or two, and maybe you need some stuff in your Airbnb or hotel, of course, food delivery is the most important one. And this can be done within the WeChat app. And inside of the mini program, you can either use Hungry Panda, which is a food delivery app just like Uber Eats or Deliveroo, or you can use Meitian. Meitian is also a service that you may need to get a Chinese phone number for, but in my experience it did work with my British phone number as well, with just getting the two-factor authentication, and then it just worked. Again, this is just for food deliveries. There is a few other little features in the app there, but yeah, mainly for food. Now, if you want to do some online shopping when you're in China, just like Amazon, you can use Taobao. This is effectively the Amazon of China, and you can get anything delivered to your hotel or apartment in the same type of speeds as in China. It's very similar to like Temu or AliExpress, but it gets delivered much quicker because you are actually in that country. And then for food reviews and also trying to find food places, Dianping is another one that you can use as well. It has a ton of different reviews. I find that AMAP as well has already really great reviews of food places anyway, so you don't necessarily need to download this one. I didn't use it too much after the day one, but yeah, it's personal preference. Now, just some tips for traveling to China. If you're coming from the UK or the West, just make sure that you have your passport on you all of the time, because it effectively acts like your ID. Not that you're really ever going to get ID'd by the police or whoever it may be. You need your passport to verify and register who you are within basically all of the apps, especially WeChat and Alipay, to make any payments at all. Alongside this, you'll need it to check into the hotel and so on and so forth. Now, if you have got an eSIM in the country that you're in, and you potentially want to use some of the Chinese services like the drone delivery or the autonomous vehicles, which you cannot use with Western numbers, then getting a Chinese phone number could be a good option for you. I actually did do this. I went to China Unicom and signed up for a Chinese phone number. It was just a 7-day phone number that self-destructs after those 7 days. Bearing in mind, if you do want to do this, they will also give you a ton of data as well, which is really good. And it only cost me something ridiculous like £5, which was really good, or maybe I got really ripped off, I'm not too sure. This will give you a Chinese phone number that you can receive two-factor authentication text to, and then actually register for those services. If you do go to China Mobile or China Unicom, please make sure you bring your ID as well, because they are going to want that ID to effectively get you on their system and get you registered and set up. But yeah, other than that, China is just such an amazing place to go and visit. Some of the Western media outlets do try and make it seem like it's a bit more of a boogeyman than it really is. Everybody there was very nice to me. Going through the airports, all of the airport security, everything was really smooth. I didn't feel like I was being mistreated or out of place at all. Obviously, everyone's experience differs and varies. You know, maybe I just got lucky, who knows. In general, everybody was just super nice. And yeah, I just cannot wait to go back again. The next places I'm probably going to be going to is Wuhan, Chongqing, Shanghai, and Beijing, and also potentially Hangzhou as well. But let me know as well in the comments if there are any places in China you'd like me to visit. And please make sure to hit the subscribe button for more China videos and also videos from all around the globe. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one.